As the leader of the Booner pack, I lead from the front.
All right, boys. Lock in.
It's our core foundation, man. Grit.
I'm fired up. I'm fired the f*** up, boys.
It's pumping right now. It's got my juice pumping, boys.
All right, we are live. And again, what a game. Lions pull out the victory over the Seattle Seahawks, who are the winners of 6 straight until today. Lions take them down 42-29. Weird game. A lot of offense from both teams. It's weird. We talked about it, all week. And I didn't think it'd be this high scoring, but it was. Insanely high scoring. Offenses on both sides of the ball, or both teams, were playing well. Lions defense, first half allowed 7 points. Second half did not look as good. So, but you know what the good news is, ladies and gentlemen? Jared Goff, perfect game. Perfect game from the Lions quarterback, Jared Goff. 18 of 18, 292, 2 touchdowns. I mean, I can't believe this is an incredible win. Huge win. For a lot of different reasons. One, the Lions, against the Seahawks, and we know the record between those two teams. But more than that, this offense, you needed them to bounce back, and they did. Today in the red zone, they were 5 of 5. Perfect in the red zone. And that's improvement. So against the Buccaneers, they were 1 for 7, got to the end zone, the red zone 7 times, only converted 1. 5 of 5. The Lions offense played well. Number 2, Seahawks, like I said, winners of 6 straight. Lions take them down today. Ring of Honor night. Calvin Johnson, Pride of the Lions inductee. They get a win for Calvin. In the black uniforms, it's just great. I mean, the offense playing the way it did. I mean, yeah, the first half of the defense, but really the second half, it was mostly the tackling issues. But, it's not like last game where a lot of guys went down. Not a lot of injuries. It was great. That's how you win. And it's, you know what? You'll take that win. You'll take it, man. You'll steal that win. I have no issue with, and again, we'll break this more down tomorrow and talk about the specifics. But Lucas, the Lions won at home against the Seahawks. I don't give a damn how it looked.
No, I don't. Especially when you look at the Lions have lost the last 6 matchups with this team. You talked about Jared Goff already. I mean, he couldn't have looked any better. He was literally perfect. Caught a receiving touchdown. Amon-Ra dropped a dot to him. The only head-scratching moment, at least for me, through that whole game was that safety. I don't know what you're doing, but outside of that,
it was dumb, yeah.
I mean, this offense threw the ball efficiently. Jamison Williams had a 7-yard touchdown. Sam Laporta looked healthy. I know he didn't have a huge game statistically, but when you look at Sam Laporta compared to the rest of the season starting off, he looks the healthiest he's ever been. In the open field, it looked like Sam Laporta. Amon-Ra St. Brown was kind of quiet during that game, but to help close it, the toe tap touchdown to seal the deal will help seal it. Then defensively, I know they gave up a lot of yards through both on the ground compared to what they have, and Geno Smith threw for his career high. But getting back to what you're saying, who cares? You walked out of this game. You walked out of Ford Field on Monday night with a W. You look like, in my opinion, one of the best teams in the NFC, if not that. You got a matchup coming down the road in a couple of weeks, the Minnesota Vikings, a divisional game that's going to be key, but also for the number 1 seed in the NFC, which a lot of people didn't expect. This was a huge game for the Detroit Lions to have going into the bye week.
Yep.
You pick up a huge win, and then you go on the road into Dallas, who looks shaky right now. And what can't they do? Stop the run. What did the Detroit Lions show that they could do yet again? Run the ball. So I cannot wait for that Dallas game. But again, I'm just enjoying the Seattle W because this is a feeling we haven't felt in a long time, Hefe.
Yeah, and it was, they scored 21 in both the first half and the second half.
Mm-hmm. Third quarter woe's gone.
Yeah, 14 points in the third quarter. They didn't lose the lead at all this entire game. Again, bring up the defensive issues, but that's the big takeaway is the Lions are now 3-1. 3-1. In the NFC North, it's important. In the NFC, it's important, given how other teams are looking right now. And you had the Seahawks, a team that had, at least in the standings, now you have the tiebreaker.
Yeah, definitely. And you did it without Frank Ragnow. You did it without Marcus Davenport. You did it without Derek Barnes. Shout out Malcolm Rodriguez, got a huge sack in that first half to kind of stall things out, made Geno Smith uncomfortable. And you look at the one thing I will say that we can, I think it's a negative from this game that we can pull away from, James Houston.
I see why he has a
but Josh Pascal, he wasn't a liability out there. He held
Nope.
his own. He put pressure on Geno a couple times, was solid in the run game. So this defense right now is only going to get healthier. Again, they got the bye week coming up. And this was probably their worst defensive game, but we were saying it during the stream. Pound for pound, especially when you could say the LA Rams, but when you factor in Puka Nacua got hurt, that offensive line, this was the best offense they went up against. You look at just through the wide receivers as a whole, this was the best wide receiver trio they went against. Kenneth Walker, I feel like they definitely were saving him to go up against this game because you look at the Detroit Lions compared to the Skylar Thompson-led Miami Dolphins, Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos, and Jacoby Brissett and the Patriots. Like, you want Kenneth Walker healthy on Monday night against the Detroit Lions. He did his thing, but it still wasn't enough because the offense found a way to get it back in rhythm. Again, without Frank Ragnow, you bring in Yodi. Shout out to Yodi because he comes into that guard spot, and the Detroit Lions were running the ball between the tackles with ease. There was a couple plays where, especially to start the game off, David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs went 5 yards without being touched. Jahmyr Gibbs in the red zone went 13 yards without being touched, and Yodi is a huge part of that. Same with Graham Glasgow. All the guys I feel like that needed to step up tonight. Levi Onwuzurike at the end there getting the sack, and I know it forced a fumble, and at the end he had that penalty, but at the end of the day, didn't really have much impact on the game.
Right.
All the guys that needed to step up did so. Brandon Joseph didn't have big plays on the stat category, but what was the thing that Brian Branch and Kirby Joseph don't let happen? Big plays deep. Now, they went to empty. They forced the ball to DK Metcalf, and he made that play, and it resulted in a touchdown. But Brandon Joseph had a good game as well. So shout out to all the guys that needed to step up because, in my opinion, they all did. Yeah,
it was impressive all around. I mean, the run game, again, they didn't have 150, 200 yards rushing, but they did enough situationally. And they had Jared playing as well as he did. That's probably the more shocking thing of this whole thing, as we talked about it all week. 3 defensive linemen out, 3 starters, 3 of their best pass rushers. And the Lions don't run the ball they ran it well, but they didn't. I mean, we thought they run for a lot more yards, but Jared was perfect throwing the ball. Like, it was like opposite, essentially. Like, they ran for 116 yards and 3 TDs, which is like, for some teams, it's like, that's great. Lions, you're like, oh, okay. Like Dave Montgomery had 40 yards rushing, on 12 carries. Jahmyr, 14 carries, 78 yards. Like, that's really good. Had a longest rush of 20 yards. But Jared being 18 of 18 for 292, averaging 16.2 average yards per completion. Like, and that was obviously a big, they have huge chunk plays, but getting as many explosive plays as they did against this Seahawks secondary, I was surprised. I didn't expect that much. I mean, that many explosive plays through the air.
I think we can, we just gave Ben Johnson a little bit of shit for that safety call earlier, but if you look, that touchdown to Jamison Williams, that's exploiting that secondary because you have Witherspoon on Amon-Ra St. Brown. Great on great. You found a way to kind of attract the attention to Amon-Ra St. Brown, and here comes arguably the fastest wide receiver outside of Tyreek Hill in the NFL, and Jamison Williams. Amon-Ra gets Witherspoon to turn inside, and boom, there goes Jamison Williams for a 70-yard touchdown. Another one where it's like, we talk about Jahmyr through the air, but do you guys remember that 40-yard catch by David Montgomery where Goff just made a play? Goff the whole night. We diss, and me especially, I talk about all the time Jared Goff's lack of mobility, and that's why it keeps him out of being that consistent elite quarterback. Yeah, Jared Goff didn't run for any yards, but Jared Goff's mobility with inside the pocket tonight was just on point. His ability to create plays inside the pocket, just buy one more second and deliver a perfect ball, literally 18 for 18. Jared Goff on multiple plays, Devin Witherspoon was coming blitzing from the nickel spot, stepped up in the pocket. Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery had good pass pro, but Goff just did a great job at extending plays and just getting it to his guys in rhythm. And Booner, you talked about it earlier. Shout out. Happy you could join us. But you talked about it at the beginning of the season where Jared Goff, there's a chance for him to get the MVP narrative. And he's definitely not played like Jared Goff. But this is a game where he's not in the MVP candidate race right now, but he played like a guy who could be in that race by the end of the season right now.
Let's just call a spade a spade. That was probably one of the best performances out of a quarterback all season long.
Yeah.
What Jared Goff did today. And it's not just like 18 for 18. He was calm. There was times like that 360 spin. He's about to get sacked, extends the play. He got sacked twice, but there was times we don't see out of Jared Goff a lot to where he extends plays, and he was doing that tonight. And he was making the right plays, he was making the right reads. And this is the situation and the exact thing that I've been talking about with Jared Goff the last 3 weeks. When I get yelled at to tell people to calm down, is we know who Jared Goff is.
Yeah.
This is probably one of the best games he's played as a Lion, but Jared Goff can play like that or play close to that. And the last 3 weeks, he goes through stretches. But look when you get him at his best. Like this is an elite quarterback when he is at his best. And when I say elite, like obviously he's not Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, but he's elite to where he's going to win you a football game. And you have no question that you're going to lose that game. And Jared Goff, as much as the defense gave up, what was it? What did they give up today? 29 points, like as much as, or whatever. It was probably less because take the safety away, 27. Like as much as that, like Jared, they went out and put 42 points up. Like Ben Johnson, outside of the safety call and that last play call, outside of that, Ben Johnson's back. Like this offense is back. And I've been saying this for weeks, guys. With this defense, and I know they struggled at times today, they're going to figure it out. Take the penalties away and limit those. You have a really good defense still. And if you have that defense and you have this offense, this is the best. Like, this is not exaggeration. This team's better than the Chiefs. They're better than the Bills. There is no team in the NFL that's better than this team when they're playing like
the Vikings?
The Vikings, yes. They are the best team in the NFL. When that offense is playing the way it is, it's the best offense in the NFL. And then if you add a top 10 defense to it, please tell me a team that's better than that. You will not. That was one of the outside of the second half with defense. That was a great. I mean, guys, am I crazy? Like, this is the best team in football, in my opinion. Like, if they're playing at that level, that's the best team in football.
You know what? They're one of the best teams in the league. I mean, that we know that to be a fact. The only thing I would say, my one thing I would raise is, like, you can't look like that defensively in the second half. And I'm just talking more from like a player's perspective, like not as much on AG, but more so the players like tackling, like the fundamental stuff.
The beginning of that fourth quarter was just hard to watch.
Like, that's where it's like, if they can just get, not that you have to be as dominant as you were in the first half, but if you get like a portion of that first half defense and they play like that offensively, best team in the league. Like, it's just that defense to me. It's like, dude, that second half, like even the flags. I mean, how many flags did they have in this game?
I want to say 12.
I mean, the
like
defense at the end had 9 flags alone.
The penalties, they had 12. They have 12 penalties for 100+ yards,
and 9 of them on defense.
Yeah, like that stuff is where I'm like, oh, okay.
Some of them were flaky, but some were legit. What do you guys think about? They talked about toward the end of the game. Through 4 games, Terrion Arnold has 8 penalties, 5 of them being pass interferences. Like, when you guys hear that, what do you think?
It's unacceptable. I mean, it just can't. Like, I get like the first game or the second game. Now it's like third game, fourth game. He's still having PI calls. Like, if you know what I would do this week in practice? Put mittens on him. Mm-hmm. You know what? All right, you want to grab? Play with mittens. Now we can just get back to fundamentals. You don't have to. Again, the league it's just different. The college football lets you be more handsy.
Yep.
The NFL does not.
I thought too,
and that's like, okay, that's the learning curve. Like Stephen Clark says in the chat here, learning curve, guys. Yeah, you're right. But I mean, in 4 games, I mean, okay, like then the rest of the season, no PI calls.
You still have to. It felt like he was improving from week 1, 2 to 3.
Cover.
Today there were some, and I know there were some penalties, and maybe you could say this. I don't know this crew, how much this crew typically, throws the flag. Every crew has their own little percentages and all that. But either way, whether you have a bad crew or not, 4, I think he had 3 or 4 today pass interference call. You can't have that. You can't limit it to 1 or 2, like, and just keep learning. And it was a tough matchup. Like we said at the beginning of the game, you're going up against JSN, Tyler Lockett, and DK Metcalf. That's a tough 3. Whoever you're lined up across to your guard, like that's tough. That's tough for a rookie, any rookie in the NFL. So I think I don't know. I just think, like, defensively, I think they're going to figure it out. Like, I do think you have to go get an edge rusher, because James Houston might not be it. Levi O, great. Aleem today, great. Hutch is always great. DJ Reader was big time. Like, guys did step up. Josh Pascal, I didn't really hear his name called. He had like a tackle or 2.
A couple plays
on the run game, but in the pass rush, he really didn't show up much. Rodrigo stepping up for Derek Barnes is big. Like, the defense is going to be fine, guys. I get it. You guys have to understand, like, Seattle's put a lot of points up on people. Like, they put points up. Seattle does. So you guys, like, I think I saw a stat with Geno, and it was like him in a dome. Like, this man like averages like 27, 28 points per game.
And on top of that, he's one of the best quarterbacks in man coverage. So you have like those 2 combined. He was on fire.
So you're sitting there and you're like, all right, we can get up. Like, you won by 2 scores here. Like that's, I think you're happy with that. And then their offense picking it back up. Like, the way the offense has been the first 3 weeks, Lions fans should be so pumped right now. Like, this should be like we're legit. We are here.
You know what I think the next step is for this team? And it's not that they will do it because it's still early, but it's just putting it all together, I think, is like the last week. The defense doesn't allow a point in the second half. The offense doesn't score a point.
Yeah.
It's like, and this week the offense score is 5 for 5 in the red zone, and then the defense in the second half, they give up 21 points, or excuse me, more than that, 22 points in the second half. Like that stuff. It's like we just got to put it together.
I just think, like Booner said, if you add just not even like it doesn't have to be a Trey Hendrickson, because I know that's the hot name right now. If you just add a guy that can consistently just put pressure and win one-on-ones, I mean, the Seahawks don't put up 29 points. Like if Marcus Davenport's in this game, Geno Smith gets sacked at least once or twice more. And it doesn't even have to be from Davenport. It's created from that pressure outside of him, because Hutch getting off the ball today was insane. Like he knew the snap count better than the offensive tackle half the time.
Well, let's see here. So the Lions are putting out some stats, and this is impressive here. And I want to put this up. Jared Goff and Amon-Ra St. Brown are 9th in the NFL all time with quarterback and pass catchers first 50 games together in the NFL. Through the first 50 games together, they're top 10 in terms of what they've done. And I'll put this graphic up for you guys. Lions just put it out on Twitter, it's a wild. I mean, here, let me put this on screen for you guys. I mean, check this out. Let me zoom in. So quarterback, pass catchers, first 50 games together in NFL history. Tom Brady, Wes Walker, Justin Herbert, Keenan Allen. You see like Drew Brees, Michael Thomas, Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, Eli and Odell, Scott Mitchell and Herman Moore, 6th on that list. And then you see 3 spots below Jared Goff and Amon-Ra St. Brown are there, 321. So, and they're right behind Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce.
That's pretty nuts to think about it.
Their first 50 games together, most most completions, I guess, or most catches.
And on the night when Calvin got inducted too?
On the night. Yeah, I mean, it's impressive. And the Lions also tweeted out their player of the game, and I guess you already kind of know who that player is.
Yeah.
I mean,
the one and only.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is that is ridiculous is not only the perfect game, the almost 300 yards passing, no turnovers, but he had a receiving touchdown as well. I mean, look at this. Player of the game, Jared Goff, 18 for 18, 292, 2 passing TDs, and 1 caught TD.
Looked like Brock Wright out there, not going to lie.
Yeah.
Put a little sauce on it at the end. Launched it like 40 yards into the stands.
He's going to talk about that on this podcast.
And shout out to Amon-Ra, because that dude dropped it in a bucket. Perfect spiral. Looked like he's been there before.
Mm-hmm.
Composed.
I mean, that is, and I see people talking about where is St. Brown passing to Goff on that list. I think, is that Goff's first receiving TD of his career? I mean,
Sean McVay didn't like Goff enough to throw him a touchdown pass. I'll tell you that much.
I mean, yeah, the fact that I'm trying to look. Yes, it is. It's not his first catch, but it's his first TD catch. He has 1 in 2022.
I mean, we talked about on the show, Jared Goff is going to probably finish the season with more receiving touchdowns than Donovan Peoples-Jones.
He will probably.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely will.
DPJ, I don't know if he's going to be active all year. By the way,
civilians.
Can I just say this too? One thing I think that we need to look at and talk about is Tim Patrick.
Yes, sir.
Like Tim Patrick, 2 catches, 50-something yards, 52 yards. I said it in the pregame show. And Jeff, we had the conversation. I said Tim Patrick doesn't need to do what he did earlier in his career and go get 700-800 yards. He doesn't need to do that statistically wise. But if he gets back to what he was before he got injured, when it comes to the style of play, what he can bring to the table, because you have look at like the receiving, like Jameson Williams, 2 catches, 80 yards. Sam Laporta, 4 catches, 53. Tim Patrick, 2 for 52. St. Brown, 6 for 45. D-Mont, 1 for 40. Brock Wright had a couple. Leaf had 1. And Goff, obviously. But when you do look at that, Tim doesn't need to go out and get you 100 yards in a game like he used to have to when he was in Denver or these other places. He just needs to get you what he did today. A couple, that's a Josh Reynolds type game. A couple catches, 50-something yards, off 1 for a first down, I believe. Just 2 targets, 2 for 2. Just be reliable. And that's such a big piece on this offense. And it feels like a little bit like Ben and Jared and Tim, and they're starting to get a little bit of a, Like Ben Johnson's starting to get some chemistry with him,
Yeah.
knowing, hey, where do we need to put Tim? Where does Tim Patrick, what position does he need to be in to be successful? And then Jared is getting more reps with him. So
And on that safety,
I think that's huge. I think it's big.
on that safety, they were trying to get him the ball too. That would have been like another 20 yards at the end of the game
Yeah.
to seal it. I mean, they were drawing up a play to Tim Patrick to seal the game. I think he does everything that Josh Reynolds could do for this offense. He's a little bit bigger. Josh Reynolds probably a little bit more burst at this time in his career. But Tim Patrick, Boo, you brought it up originally. Like, come playoff time, like he's going to be the wide receiver 3. Like he's going to have more targets, I bet, more yards, more catches than Khalif Raymond at this point.
He already has.
And he fits what this offense needs as far as a wide receiver 3. Like I think Khalif Raymond at your wide receiver 4 is a luxury. You can use him in a ton of gadget plays as your returner, so you don't have to worry about having your starting wideout as your returner. And I think that's where Khalif would just flourish more. And that's not even a diss towards Khalif. I just think he's better as that type of player.
Yeah, I mean, he is solid. I never questioned his ability, more so just maybe the expectations of some people. But there's no denying he is solid.
Yeah.
He's solid. Just got to stay healthy. You know what he brings to the table. He's reliable, big, a true X, makes plays, and got a little bit of yak to him. Big fella running out there.
He does.
Making some plays. I like Tim Patrick.
He adds a piece
to
your offense. It's like you've needed. Like you need. Like you had last year, you really didn't. You had Josh Reynolds, but then the year before you have DJ Chark and Josh Reynolds. Like you didn't have that piece going into the year, and that was where it was like, oh, this is tough. The fact that they got him off basically was the waivers.
Yeah.
He
was cut. They signed him.
Like
to the
that's
practice squad.
insane. Like he's a big piece too. Such a big piece.
Let me ask you guys, Branch not being there. They felt this presence.
Yes.
The amount of missed tackles. Like, and I want to say this too. And I know some people might not like it because he's a Michigan man, but AJ Barner, I never want to watch another snap of play football. This dude would get a 7-yard catch and act like he just got in the end zone. He gets his first career touchdown. I'm happy for him. Great, that's fine. Didn't shut up the rest of the game. That doesn't happen without Brian Branch being out of the game. All these missed tackles that we saw, that doesn't happen if Brian Branch is out of the game. Well, I mean, we saw tonight, especially in that second half, when Seattle got it going offensively, when Kenneth Walker got going like on that cutback, when Kenneth Walker cut it back, Anzo missed a tackle, Carlton Davis wasn't there to help contain. Like those plays don't happen if Brian Branch is in the game. Maybe they get some yardage, yeah, but that doesn't result in a touchdown. So Brian Branch entering the bye week, Lions were able to get the W without him. Shout out to Brandon Joseph because he held his own out there, didn't give up any big plays. You go into Dallas, Brian Branch was sorely missed, but they were able to win without him. I think that's a great sign because he's definitely, I'd say, Aiden Hutchinson, without a doubt. Best defensive player so far this year.
I want to say this. Mark,
Brian.
I don't know if this is true, but shout out Mark Ryan.
It is true.
97-1. Jared Goff. And this, I'm going to love to be able to hold this over people's heads forever. Set an NFL record today. Jared Goff became the first quarterback in NFL history to complete a game without a single incompletion with a minimum of 11 passing attempts. Went 18 for 18 in a perfect quarterback rating of 155.8 or passing rating.
Yeah.
That's NFL. Yeah. What can you say about the man now? What can you say about the man now? Well, I guess that he almost broke the NFL record for most completions or most pass attempts without an interception, and people didn't want to talk about that. But that's crazy that's true. That's what a game.
Yeah,
what a bounce back from the first 3 weeks of so many people going at Jared Goff and saying all these things about Jared Goff. That's a huge bounce
and
back.
Steve said, and he caught a TD.
And
he caught a tutty.
I mean, just
sprinkling on top of the record already. It is what a game from Jared. They needed every one of those completions. I mean, the dude was slinging it, and it wasn't like he had 25, 30 pass attempts for 300 yards. He had 18 completions, 18 attempts, and almost 300 yards.
Yeah, and they weren't all check downs either. Like he was pushing the ball down the field. Like even like that last one to Amon-Ra St. Brown, like one of Jameson Williams, like he was making some good throws.
That secondary, Mike McDonald's going to talk to him and be like, guys, 100% completion percentage, 300 yards.
That's it. I mean, that's what
point. I'm saying. Like, I did not expect it. Like, it just, so I love the NFL. It's like you have this, everything in your mind, how it's going to go. And it does it's the opposite. Like, I thought they'd run for 150 and Jared would have like 200. I mean, I'm not surprised by the passing yards, but I thought he'd have to work a little harder for it. I mean, dude was perfect, 300 yards. He didn't run as much as we thought. Like, I'm talking about production wise, just opposite. It's weird how this works, but hey, I'll take it. I
did think it was. I felt like Ben. I think he did a good job with play calling, where it was like he knew exactly, hey, we need to run the ball here. There were a couple times where I think we had a 3-and-out actually once, where he passed. Oh, it was the start of the game, first possession of the game, pass, run, and then pass, and it was a 3-and-out. I think after that first possession, they had like touchdown. It felt like, all right, you have a rhythm now. That's just where Ben has to like, let's get in a rhythm.
They were forcing the pass. Like they passed 18 times, or 19 if you include Amon-Ra, obviously 19. They ran at 28.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's what you should do. 28 to 18, 19, whatever, pass run ratio. Like that's where you want to be.
Yep.
They ran it more times than they passed it. They just pushed the ball, like Lucas said, down the field a lot. Had explosive plays all game against a very good secondary. Like, yeah, talk about the defensive lineman being out, but like that secondary is legit, and they got torched.
Yeah, arguably, I mean, without a doubt, so far in the season, the best secondary in the league, at least what they've been able to do to the other team.
I would agree.
You just shred it from like they got killed with 1,000 different cuts. I mean, we talk about like nobody really had an overwhelming performance of the air, but we talked about like Amon-Ra got going, J-Mo got going, Laporta got going, like everything you wanted offensively. Tim Patrick got going.
Mm-hmm.
Everything you wanted offensively through the air happened. So, Boone, I stand corrected because I said this can be a defensive game where I don't think the Lions get it going offensively because Frank was out, and they did exactly the opposite of what I said.
Yep, offensive game. I'm going to be honest, I didn't think none of us had this high scoring game.
No.
I mean,
no,
none of
not
us
this high scoring. I just thought maybe
42-29. I mean, that is like higher than all of ours.
It felt like to me, it was like this is a good game to get back into your rhythm. Like that was to me like you're at home Monday Night Football. We know how the Lions play, and Dan Campbell does with primetime. You know, like how Jared Goff plays good in primetime. Like these guys play very well in primetime, and they were going to show up at home. And in the night, everything with it, Dan Campbell has these old guys ready to go all the time. And I was like, the offense has to get going here. And I think it just has taken so long because let's just call it what it is. Last year you had Amon-Ra and Sam, and then you did have your running back duo, but now you add J-Mo to that. Now you're adding Tim Patrick to it. Like you have so many weapons on this team. I don't know an NFL or you can argue with the quarterback with Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
This is the best offense in the entire NFL.
Well, Rasheed Rice is out.
Yes,
so they
probably
injuries.
for the seasons, right?
Yeah,
ACL.
but it's significant. I don't know what it is.
So
exactly.
like you're sitting there and you're like the Lions after tonight, they have the best offense in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And with me, the way their defense tonight, yeah, played tough. Yeah, not the best, but the first 3 weeks. This is the best team in the NFL.
Yeah.
I mean, they dominated tonight.
The only other team, and we talked about it, I think they'll come back down to earth. I can understand people saying the Vikings based off the way that they look right now, but the Vikings just both offensively and defensively don't have the depth. Like if they suffer the injuries that the Lions did last week, they're going to be in trouble. And I know they have TJ Hawkinson coming back, but at some point they're going to return down to earth eventually. They're 4-0. They're going to lose some games, and then teams are going to get a blueprint on them how to kind of crack the Vikings. And the Detroit Lions and Vikings, even when the Lions were bad, and the Vikings were solid. The Lions and Vikings have always had it out for each other. It's going to be a good game. And the two best teams in the NFC are located in the NFC North right now. So it's going to be very interesting to see how it plays out.
So you're 3-1 heading into the bye. And then you get Dallas out of the bye.
Then you get Tennessee.
Well, no, then you get Minnesota.
Then you get Minnesota, then Tennessee.
Well, yep. So you're on the road to Dallas, on the road to Minnesota, then you're home against the Tennessee Titans. So the bye week couldn't come at a better time. Frank gets 2 weeks. Brian Branch 2 weeks. These guys
are going to be back.
Guys get to recharge, like TA, lock in, no hands, man. Let's relax on the hands, and you get to face a Dallas team that could potentially be without Micah and DeMarcus.
I mean, dude, could we just quick?
That's bad news.
The Detroit Lions beat the Seahawks finally. Like, jeez. How long did that have to take?
6 seasons.
Unbelievable.
6 years, over half a decade.
Mm-hmm.
That was insane. The fact that they were finally able to pull that off. I'm excited though. Like the bye. If you go in and beat Dallas and you're sitting at 4-1 after a Dallas road win, this team is. I'm very confident.
All 4 wins in the NFC too.
Yeah. We have 1 NFC loss. Yeah. I mean, you start off the season with 4, 5, 6 NFC teams. 6 NFC games. So yeah, and they're important too. We were talking about that in the pregame show. Like a game like this, the Seattle's a 3-0. They're probably going to be a playoff team or have a chance. They're going to have a chance maybe in their division just to compete with the 49. Like what's going on? That could be like a tiebreaker game. And that was why that was so big. And then next week, the Dallas, maybe not a tiebreaker game. I don't think Dallas will be in contention for the top 4. But then like the next week, the Vikings, like that's a NFC. Like these are big games.
The Lions, I mean, obviously they got the match of Week 17, but the NFC West, I think, is still considered one of the better divisions of football, and the Lions are 3-0 against them. And I think that speaks a lot when you talk about going to the playoffs. Like if you look this good this early against the NFC West, I mean, the 49ers, the Rams are going to get healthier. Puka's going to come back. Cooper Kupp's going to get healthy. They're going to look better. Offensive line going to kind of recuperate. Arizona Cardinals aren't going to be in there, but they're a team that gives teams a lot of trouble. And now the Seattle Seahawks, you're beating these teams this early. You got in the bye, and you are kind of already hurt, so you're really only going to get healthier. This Detroit Lions team hasn't really been on par offensively. They get it clicking tonight. It's like Booner said, like it's hard to say this isn't the best team in the NFC right now.
No, they look like it. I mean, even with the loss to Tampa Bay, I mean, I hate in this again. They lost, but you were in the red zone 7 times.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you should be 4-0. You punch one of those in, you're 4-0. So this team does look damn good, and they're not even at their best right now.
That was like my whole God. Like this is the great football team. This is such a good football team. I like the Chiefs. Klotz, before the pregame show, I brought up Patrick Mahomes had a postgame press conference or an interview, and dude, they've won just all one possession games. They're sitting at 4-0, and they've snuck out so many games they probably should have lost, whether it was refs or this or that. And Patrick Mahomes, like no one's obviously it's because they have Mahomes, but no one's criticizing anything on their team. But they're not playing great football.
No,
but with the Lions, they drop one after going 1 for 7 in the red zone, and everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, what's going on with the Lions?" It's like it's early in this. It's so early in the season. Like, look how bad at times the Chiefs look like. They should have lost 3 out of those 4 games they've played so far, but they just find a way. And it's like you're in the NFL. It's just like just get the job done.
Mm-hmm.
I just spit, but just get the job done.
A win's a win.
Just go. You're in the end. It's the hardest league in the world. Go, just if you win, you win. I don't care how ugly or good it is. Tonight it happened to be just an unbelievable offensive performance,
right?
And it should boost people's confidence. Like the Booner path is on a different level right now. Never been.
Turn to the Autobahn almost.
Was there a time at all in the game where you guys are like, oh no, like maybe when it became one possession and you're like, all right, all you need to do is
half for a second.
Yeah, well, it got to 8, and you're like, all you need to do is go, and guess what they did?
Score a touchdown.
JMO touchdown, and you're like,
the
boom,
next play, pretty much.
Yeah, and it's like there was never a time where you're sitting there and you're like, yeah, obviously you're nervous. The safety is like, as a fan, you're sitting there and you're like, you know, anything can happen. But there was never a time where you're sitting there like the Lions are, like they're going to win this game. Yeah, I had a tweet typed up in the third quarter saying Detroit Lions win. Like it was very there was no time where I was like, they're not going to win this game. Not once.
Yeah, and that's I guess for the offense to show up when they had to, and even the defense not playing as well in the second half, like the offense being like, all right, chill. We'll just score again. And that's it's not exactly it's not full complementary football where the defense and offense are playing well, but still, like, they're taking care of each other. That's what you expect out of this offense. I mean, the defense, finally, the defense has been keeping the Lions saving their ass the last couple of games. And now it's like, all right, we're good. All right, offense, we're back. We got you. You're giving up 2 in the second half. We got you. We'll punch it in. We'll score a couple times.
I mean, the defense, They held them to 7 points in the first half. Like it felt like I said at halftime. I was like, if they do what they did in the first half in the second, you hold them to 14. That's, you want to hold teams under 20 points every week. That's a great defense. So you're putting yourself in a great position there to be successful. Except that second half, that third quarter looked tough defensively. At least offensively in the third quarter, there was no like big time mistakes.
Yeah. No, and there's a lot to. I mean, they didn't have Brian Branch, they didn't have Derek Barnes, they didn't have. I mean, guys like Davenport. So and Davenport's out for the season, but still, when they're going to get Brian back, Barnes will come back eventually.
This is a good point.
But Malcolm Rodriguez played very well without him.
This is a good point from ECL. The offense scored too quickly. The defense needed a break. That felt like that was happening a lot tonight, and that's not like a bad thing.
That's what I said to you guys on the watch party. I was like, it seems like the offense is scoring so fast. The defense is like, oh, okay, we're going back out.
Yeah, I don't think that's not a bad thing. That's just like it's tough. I don't think it's
I mean, it's not like you'd want your offense to score at the end of the day, but
but
they were. That's why Aiden was out some plays, like because he's playing every snap. They're defense is rolling out there. I don't know how many minutes the Oh, I gotta look. Actually, I'm curious what's the time of possession split between these two teams. That's what I'm gonna look, because I don't know how long the defense was out there compared to the offense. So, let's see. So, time of possession for both teams. Oh
my gosh.
The Seahawks had 34 minutes
That's nuts.
to 25
The
minutes.
David Montgomery play?
No,
Oh, the
34 to 25.
Yeah, that's why the defense was so gassed.
34. They had
34
10 minutes
time
more
of
of possession, and they lost by 2 touchdowns.
you know why, Boone?
That's crazy.
What do you always talk about winning every week?
Turnover battle.
What was the turnover battle?
2 to
Boone?
1, 2 to 0, 2-0.
Not a single
2-0.
turnover for the Detroit Lions.
Well, the Seahawks had more time of possession. They had more rushing yards. They had more passing yards. They had 2 turnovers.
It's kind of honestly,
They
the
ran
flip side.
and they ran 28 more plays.
The Detroit Lions did what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers did to the Detroit Lions against the Seattle Seahawks. Like, Geno Smith threw 56 times. Kenneth Walker carried the ball. Yeah, he had 3 touchdowns, but he only carried the ball 12 times. So they didn't put him in a position where they could kind of feed him, because right when he got going, Jameson Williams, 7-yard touchdown. David Montgomery, 40-yard check down that sets them into a touchdown position, and they score off of it. So Kenneth Walker was having his way on the ground, but they couldn't let him get in rhythm throughout the whole game because they weren't in the position. So Detroit Lions took out a play out of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers book in this game, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's weird. It's one of those things where you look in, like, the Seahawks, yeah, they put up 516 yards of total offense, but the Lions only had 389, but they scored. And they were perfect in the red zone. The Seahawks were 3 of 4, but it just came down to the turnovers, essentially. And one of them was that 40-yard return from Carlton that set up the score there. So, yeah, the turnovers really hurt the Seahawks. I mean, it did. And the Lions had explosive plays. Like, that's why they didn't lead in all these they just scored, like, quickly. The time of possession wasn't as like Geno 38 of 56 for 395. Jared 18 of 18, 292. Like, he had almost a quarter of the or really, I guess you'd say he had more than half Jared Goff's pass attempts. More than half. I mean, literally another, I think, 20. But anyway, it is wild. Yeah.
The stat in the box score
3
is
times
insane
as
to
less.
look at. I just get some rest. They need to just get healthy.
That's what they're doing, Boone.
Just go get healthy and come back for Dallas. Because the crazy thing is with this Lions team is there's 2 teams that have had the Detroit Lions numbers over the years. The Seattle Seahawks and the Dallas Cowboys. And obviously it's a new team. It's a new year. Both teams may be a little different.
Mm-hmm.
But both have had your numbers. Seattle in Detroit and Dallas always in Dallas. You have a chance to just get those off your back. Now you get this break. Like you said, Jeff, Frank gets back. Brian Branch gets back. Like, everyone gets back. And you run from there. I wonder if Broderick Martin can come back.
He's on IR. Maybe.
He got put on IR right before the season.
That's what? Yeah, maybe, possibly.
Yeah, he would be a guy that could come back. That's another guy. I mean, even so people talking about the referees and the refs. I thought the refs this game. I mean,
they just were doing too much.
Yeah,
bro.
they threw. Let's see, and I'm not saying they were
12 flags on the Lions. I think
9 on the
Seattle.
21 flags were thrown today.
And I'm sure it was over like damn near 200 yards total.
I wonder if
200 yards.
What that
200 yards of penalties.
Crew, like if that crew they're just always throwing penalties. If it's like one of those crews that just
I imagine that they were just uppity. Any contact, like, and then what was crazy is Brandon Joseph, in my opinion, had a clear pass interference on that offsides. I think it was on James Houston. Geno Smith breaks out the pocket, just throws it to DK. And Brandon Joseph is like mugging DK. Should be a flag, and then they keep it. They don't even throw the flag. So
yeah, it's just
that
bad.
crew.
It was
all
bad
over
refs
the
on
place.
each side.
You know what I'm
if there's
interested
any
in though?
quotes here.
Because last year when Detroit went down to Dallas, Ife Melifonwu had a big game, and he matches up on Jake Ferguson very well. Do you think that there's a chance coming out the bye week we see Ife as well? Because we kind of saw who went down. Was it Carlton went down for a little bit? And I know he doesn't obviously impact the safety room, but when you talk about taking Carlton out, got to move maybe a Meek outside situationally. Ennis could be outside, so safety or the nickel room could change up a little bit. And I think with Ife in there, throw Ife in a nickel, and you don't even stress about it.
Ife is on IR, so.
But he hasn't played yet. Like, he entered the season on IR.
No,
he did not.
He
He just got put on IR.
They tried. Well, what they did was they kept him like They took him out. They kept him away from IR to see if he could return, and then it's taken 4 weeks, and they're like, all right, he's really hurt, so they put him on IR.
Gotcha.
So like that sucks. He'll be out probably 8 games now when he gets back, 7-8 games, but they'll have him for the playoffs. I mean, the second half of the season they'll have him. So, but when he gets back, dude, that's another piece. Unfortunately, Davenport, you won't be getting back. He's out for the season, but Derek Barnes, you will be getting back.
Just winning games with guys out like that. I wanted to see if there's like any press conference. I want to see some post-game stuff from especially like Jared Goff. That's and this D-Mont run.
That was honestly probably my favorite play of the game, to be honest.
Kyle Brandt does the angry runs. That might be the best one of all time. I don't see
D-Mont running around. And that was honestly a majority of his rushing.
On Witherspoon, too.
The best one ever. I guess it was a pass, though, so I don't know if it counts.
Or, sorry, it was a 40-yard.
That was all of them. He had one
I think that's just count as an angry run, though. That is unbelievable. I want to see if there's any post-game. Usually there's clips here. I don't see any clips. Did they just say that what a win? Let's just go home, boys.
Yeah, it's probably Monday night. Maybe it's probably just later.
They always do that. I hear the doc's tweeting some stuff. Carlton Davis. I feel like the officials today were on the Seahawks side. Maybe I need to follow them on social media or something. There's a fine.
And you know, Carlton Davis doesn't speak much about that stuff. Like
he was getting. They had to have Jack and I think it was Kirby calm him down.
Yeah, let me share my screen. Pull a couple things up here.
Yep. Dan Campbell just spoke on Jared Goff here, so we're gonna.
Klotzy.
We're gonna play this clip for you as soon as Klotzy just kicking the mic around.
Yeah, apologize for that if you guys are watching.
Yeah, we're gonna play this clip. Dan Campbell and Jared Goff speaking about his performance. Let's hear from the head coach.
I just gave the game ball to somebody else, so I feel awful right now. Yeah. No, I knew he played a heck of a game. I did not realize he was perfect. I did not know he was literally 18 for 18. But I knew he played really well. You could feel it, and he really found his rhythm early. And I thought he was seeing the field. Played with rhythm. He had to move a little bit in the pocket. I thought what really kickstarted him is he had to kind of move in the pocket, got spun around and hung with J-Mo and hit him on the hook for the first down. It was big, man, because he was rolling after that. But just a number of huge throws, played with poise, got us in the right play. It was a heck of a play down in the red zone on the catch. Good throw by St. Been working that. So I just thought it was excellent, and credit to Ben Johnson too. I thought he called a heck of a game. It was a good game plan, and really everybody on that offense, stepped up and found a rhythm today.
I mean, he echoed everything we're talking about.
Did you hear what he said?
I heard some of what he said. Break it here.
No, he just said, I didn't know he was even 18 for 18. He had no clue.
Yeah, there was a point where Jared and they dropped him back in play action in the safety he got. If he would have had an incompletion, he would have butchered the perfect game.
Yeah. Can't do that.
Come on, Ben.
Take the safety there. Good call by Jared.
Have some awareness. All right.
I mean, on the game, just the Lions are like even St. Brown, 1-for-1, one passing touch. I mean, 19 for 19
Not a
on the
single
game.
incompletion.
Imagine how good of an offense if you only have to throw 19 times and do what you did tonight. We talked about that when he had to throw 50-something times. You're never going to look at Geno. Geno had to throw 50 times. Your record and people – when Jared had to throw 50 times and you lose to the Bucks.
Bless you.
That when everyone was like, "Oh, Jared Goff's that bad. He can't even look how bad when you throw 50 times he can't win a game." Like people were coming at us for that, or at least me. There were comments. Look at Geno Smith. Like you throw 50 times, you probably are not winning.
No, I think quarterbacks all time have not only a losing record, but it's a terrible record when throwing 50+ pass attempts. The only quarterbacks in the NFL that have a winning record are Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes.
Well, so okay, I missed this, and Dan Campbell said in this press conference, he said, well, I just gave the game ball to somebody else, so I feel awful right now because he had no clue Jared Goff was 18 for 18.
Oh, damn.
That's a tough miss. Someone's got to tell the guy. Someone has to step up and be like, hey, we probably should do one more game ball for the quarterback.
What if they just gave the game ball away and everyone's like, Dan?
I wonder who would he have given it to?
Like he gave it to like Jack Fox. Jack's like, Dan.
Oh, my gosh.
He gave it to the guy who was perfect.
Who did he give it to? Who got the game ball?
Why wouldn't Jared get the game ball?
That's crazy.
Who got the game ball?
Maybe Kirby. I don't know.
Maybe Kirby.
For what? Or not for what, but like over
Maybe
Jared?
Ben Johnson
Grant
got one.
Glasgow, maybe.
I don't know.
Guys. I mean, they gave it to the trainer last week, fellas.
After like 4 injuries happened. I don't really understand that one either. But
That was probably because that he was getting guys back on the field and like.
And then 4.
When you got it. Well, okay, well, time out. I don't like that. You can't do that. The trainer's not the one hurting the guys. If a guy gets hurt,
no, we're not saying that.
There was a lot of guys that got hurt last week, like Sam Laporta, got it together and played the rest of the football game. That's respect out of the trainer. Respect. Put some respect on the trainer's name.
He's doing a fine job.
Birdman.
But yeah,
it's not his fault if guys get hurt.
No.
It's how do you get
anybody
past
on the
those
team
injuries.
last week, you gave him the game ball.
Yeah, because he was keep getting guys back on the field. Probably he like Laporta went down, Levi, like a lot of guys were going down, and he was getting guys turned around back on the field.
Cole Parker.
No, I'm just giving respect where it's due. You guys are like, all these guys got hurt. Like the trainer was out there, like,
no,
yeah, you're on. You're done for the day. You're not getting back on the field, man. Jeff shook right now.
You know what? Give it to him again. No, give it to him every
healthy.
week.
Everybody's healthy.
Yeah, give it to him every week.
I'm really just curious. Anyone in the chat who got the game ball?
It'll come out.
I want to
Panda
know.
said he gave the game ball to J-Mo. I don't know if that's true or not.
I don't know. He had the one catch. I don't think that would be. That's not at J-Mo. I can't. My.
That would be like honestly, and that's not any slight to J-Mo. That would just be hilarious if he's like J-Mo.
They give it to Amon-Ra for throwing the touchdown.
Here's the
pass.
game ball.
Oh my gosh.
Oh gosh.
What's that? What's the saying that you say?
Imitation's a form of flattery.
I love it.
Let's see. Mike K, 2 catches for 80 yards for J-Mo. Saw a video of Mason Rudolph DMing someone's girlfriend. I don't know how that popped up in my timeline.
Cody Yacht said, I don't really blame AT. The
Mike
players
K,
were screwing up.
Mike K said Coyote should have gotten it.
Yodi stepped up. Hey, I figured Yodi was going to start because he started last year in those spots. But he did good today. Like he held his own. Only 2 sacks on Jared Goff today, and the run game looked really, really good. And there were so many times, guys, Jared Goff was sitting back and just had plenty of time. So shout out to Yodi. And Frank's probably back when he's
yeah, I'd imagine coming out the bye. If he wanted to give it a go this week and Dan had to be the reason they didn't go out there, then I'd imagine out of the bye week. I mean, think about how long Frank Ragnall's played with the Lions, and he has yet to beat the Dallas Cowboys. He wants to go out there and do it.
He for sure does. Adam Schefter said the Detroit special for the Amon-Ra to Jared Goff thing there.
Coined it. Put a big old C next to it.
Let's see. Mr. Detroit City, Jack Campbell started Mike linebacker and forced fumble.
Jack maybe Jack got the game ball. He had a good game. I feel like Jack had a really good game today.
Yeah, he did. Jack had a good game. Carlton Davis,
7 tackles.
For the most part. I know he had some mess ups, but he still had a pretty good game.
Yeah, he had a couple penalties too.
Yeah.
But Carlton was everywhere. Kirby had 9 tackles today, a tackle for a loss, a pass deflection, and interception. I think he might have given the game ball to Kirby. Especially winning the game at the end there.
Sealed it.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't get it last week, and he had intercept. What
happened with Hutch today? Just getting held all game.
He was probably gassed, and they were probably trying to go quick huddle or no huddle.
Yeah, there was a stat. It was like 25 snaps at one point. He had 1 pressure.
So there's a thing with Hutch. All right, he has gotten to a level. It's like TJ Watt. Like you saw TJ Watt the other day. TJ Watt was making a difference in the game, but he didn't have a sack, and he didn't really have a bunch of stats. If you just watch the Hutch film today, like Klotz, like the amount of times we just saw him pick the tackle up and throw him into the quarterback, like that, like every other play, and he's putting pressure on. He's making it to where it's hard.
Mm.
Like his pressure probably opened up for Levi O to get one, for Aleem to get his, for those guys to go get theirs. I mean, that's all from Hutch probably. And I don't want to take away guys' credit. But,
no, but even that DJ Reader sack was forced because Aiden Hutchinson made Geno step up in the pocket, and Reader was sitting right there. Either Aleem or Reader was going to get it, and DJ just happened to be that one.
Yeah, the way he affects the game. Cody says Hutch was all right, but we were getting nothing from the other end. A lot of quick throws too. Yeah, you're right, Cody. And that was a concern of mine and I think of many other people without having Davenport. Not that Davenport is this like different specimen, but Houston looked just lost.
I mean, his first snap in there, he just.
And then you have Josh. We talked about. I said they're going to use Josh in Houston. They're going to use Josh on rundowns where they expect them to run the ball, and then Houston comes in on second and longs or maybe a third down, and that's what they did. And Houston just was honestly, he was just bad.
Yeah.
So it's like, what do you go from here? You know what I mean? Do you just
Call
roll
up
Pascal
somebody.
out there?
You call up somebody. No, you can't.
So, or do you dial up start making some phone calls? Who can we grab?
Call it like a guy like Dietrich Wise in New England, who's just like they got their second year guy at Kentucky, Keon White out of Georgia Tech. I mean, you got a guy like Dietrich Wise, just a guy who's been around the league and seen the looks to know how just to win one-on-ones, because at least against the pass rush. Because right now, like you just talked about, Josh Pascal against the run's great, but you need a guy that's able to get to the quarterback to make sure that Geno Smith isn't throwing for all these yards. Even if it puts more pressure on him, that creates more turnovers, especially when you're going up against better offensive lines. You're not going to get many weapons that are better than Seattle, but when you get out in these shootouts like it happened tonight, you need to improve that, especially in the playoffs, to go to a Super Bowl run, in my opinion.
Shout out Eric. Hold on. Let me get the
Shout
air horn. He
out.
says, good evening from a Seahawks fan. Game ball tonight. For me, Jared Goff.
Yeah, it's
That's from a
hard to
Seahawks
hard
fan,
to
too.
dispute that.
Appreciate you, Eric, from Seahawks fan, tuned into a Lions-based show. Appreciate you so much. That was a great game. Just chill on the 500 yards of offense, please.
Yeah. I wonder how many total yards between both teams was it?
Between both teams, there it was. I'll give you the exact. I'll give you the exact number. Between both teams, you had 16 from the Seahawks, 389. So basically 900 yards.
That's crazy.
Oh my gosh, 900 yards of offense.
Crazy.
Wow.
Great game.
Yeah.
Great game. Can't wait for going to Dallas.
Well, hey, guys, I know a lot of people are in here. We appreciate you tuning into really everything we did today. And tomorrow we'll be live again.
I think are we going to do the Tigers game tomorrow?
I would like to. Yeah.
So what time was it? 2:30?
I believe so.
2:30. Are we going to go live in the
sure.
morning at all? Maybe, I don't know.
We'll just play. We'll see. Why not?
Keep an eye out on the YouTube,
Yeah.
but 2:30 for sure. We're going to be live for the Tigers game.
Yep. And then are you Bleacher Report?
Yeah.
So 2:00 we'll do Bleacher Report. 2:30 we'll probably be live. Honestly, me and Booner will be watching the Tigers game. So
And then 8 p.m. we're
show.
breaking everything down.
So we'll have a pretty fun Tuesday. Look at that. I looked at the date. It's Tuesday. I forget it's midnight.
Monday night, baby.
Hey,
Take these off. No migraine again this week.
I do want to. Can I say
2
one more
weeks, no
thing?
migraine.
yep. Go ahead.
Hey, we have a lot of people watching. I was sitting there for a minute.
Sorry.
If you're new or
You do.
anything, make sure you subscribe to the channel.
yeah,
we are
like,
live We are live weekdays 8 to 10 p.m.
Yep.
Every single
weekday.
weekday. We have guests
Don't miss
around.
the show.
Make sure you guys tune in. I know there's all these football games going on. Tune in while all that's going on. Hit the like on the stream. Subscribe. Real American Beer. Go.
Shout
Hey, the best
out.
beer
Real
out there.
American.
Shout out Real American Beer. Go check out Real American Beer and those fellas over there. It's
Yeah,
a
these are
great.
This is what
Great
gets us through
beer.
game day, man.
Yeah. Hey. Oh, we can end it on this. Let's end it on this. Kool-Aid video.
All right, throw it up.
Oh yeah. Call Boone.
Kool-Aid video.
And check out our social media that is above us right here, all the way over here. Check out the Kool-Aid videos
Check
and all the
them out on that
reactions are up.
thing.
So let's see. Oh, this is great, Boone. What a way to end.
All right. Let's do it.
Read that hobo.
Woo! The Detroit Lions. Listen, there's one thing I know. The Detroit Lions are the best football team in the entire NFL. The offense is back. Ben Johnson's back. Jared Goff. Have you ever seen a perfect game like Jared Goff just did? He is back. MVP Goff. That game, MVP Goff. Jahmyr Gibbs, D-Mont, the best running back duo in the NFL. J-Mo. And guess what? The closer, Kirby Joseph, baby. We're drinking the Kool-Aid for you, Kirby, Jared Goff. And guess what? Dallas, I hope you're ready because we're coming for you. The best team in the NFL right now. The best offense in the NFL is back. Welcome to Detroit, baby. Ford Field. Everyone, wake up. Super Bowl 2025. Wow, Jay, the Detroit Lions